The first round of the NBA playoffs continues today with 3 pivotal Game 2s. Follow along here for the latest analysis and commentary from the Post's NBA reporter Tim Bontemps, and ask him questions in the comments section. Catch up on last night's games here. Leaving Victor Oladipo on the bench isn't going to work for the Pacers. Cavaliers shake up lineup, and they clearly wanted more offense. LeBron James finds himself in an unusual position, down 0-1 in a first-round playoff series. Everything is going right for Cleveland, but the Pacers aren't out of it yet. Just about everything has gone right in Game 2 for the Cavaliers. Cleveland has already made more three-pointers 10 than it did in all of Game 1-8. LeBron James has gone bonkers, scoring 35 points on 14 for 19 shooting. Victor Oladipo has been mired in foul trouble, and Indiana has gone just 3 for 16 from 3 after hot shooting from deep in Game 1. And, despite all of that, it's just a 7-point game after 3 in Cleveland. Will the Cavaliers hang on here? Most likely. Oladipo is going to have to get some kind of a breather here in the second half, and Cleveland should close strong. But given how many things have gone in the Cavaliers' favor in this one, it should be disconcerting for a Cavaliers fan to have the game be this close. The Jazz aren't hitting threes, but their balanced attack is working. The Utah Jazz have a 26-25 lead after 1 in Oklahoma City, and that's thanks to a balanced attack and offensive rebounding. 4 players on the Jazz have already scored multiple baskets for Utah, including Derek Favors, who has 9 points and 7 rebounds already, including 5 offensive boards. The Jazz are just 1 for 6 from 3, but have a ridiculous 22 points in the paint thus far. Oklahoma City, on the other hand, has again been hot from 3, 5 for 10, but has a ridiculous 8 turnovers that have become 10 points for Utah. Victor Oladipo has to be in the game for the Pacers to score. The Indiana Pacers were outscored by 9 points with Victor Oladipo stuck on the bench with 2 fouls in the first quarter. They were outscored by 6 points with Oladipo stuck on the bench with 3 fouls in the third. Those 15 points will very likely be the difference in a game that, when Oladipo has been on the court, Indiana has been quite competitive in, yet trails by 12 at halftime, 58-46. The other thing to watch tonight in Cleveland: does LeBron James take a run at Michael Jordan's all-time playoff single-game scoring record? It's unlikely, but possible, after he scored 29 points in the first half. James's playoff scoring record, though, is very much within reach: 49 points. Donovan Mitchell in the game for Utah Jazz guard Donovan Mitchell was questionable to play in Game 2 with a foot contusion, but he's on the court to begin the game in Oklahoma City, one the Jazz need to win if they want to stay in this series. For the second straight game, the Jazz are off to a terrific start, taking a 9-0 lead in the opening minutes of Game 2. But remember, after the Jazz took a 16-4 lead in Game 1, Oklahoma City roared back into the game with a huge run of its own, and eventually went on to win. With a great home crowd, expect the Thunder to make a run again here. Victor Oladipo up to 3 fouls already. Nate McMillan has twice had a chance to leave Victor Oladipo in the game with foul trouble. Twice, he's chosen not to. After Oladipo was caught in the air by Kevin Love, who leapt into him and drew his third foul with 4:47 to go in the second quarter, McMillan opted to send Oladipo to the bench, just as he did when Oladipo picked up a pair of fouls 62 seconds into the game. Perhaps Indiana will be able to survive this and make this a game. But for a team that already has trouble scoring, the more time it leaves itself without one of its best players, the more trouble it's going to find itself in. 48 minutes in an NBA game is truly an eternity. We've seen countless early leads evaporate as the game goes along, and the losing team makes a run to make things interesting. When one of the teams involved is the Cleveland Cavaliers, though, that can be guaranteed to happen. So it comes as little surprise that the Indiana Pacers have been able to make this game interesting in the second quarter. The reintroduction of Victor Oladipo, shockingly, has seen Indiana begin hitting shots again. And with LeBron James on the bench for the first few minutes of the second quarter, it was even less surprising that Oladipo was able to lead the Pacers back into this game. The question, though, is if Indiana had to use up too much energy making a game of this again to prevent Cleveland from blowing it back open here over the latter stages of the first half. Cavaliers are hitting 3 again in Game 1, Cleveland, the team that made the third most three-pointers per game of any team in the NBA this season.